Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Monday, August 15th. And the house guests had quite an eventful Sunday, where a lot of Sundays are kind of boring, but yesterday was no such day. It was quite crazy with the amount of strategizing going on. So, I don't remember. I think I talked to you guys. Did I tell you that Kyle won the power veto? I don't remember, but that would have been my last cardcast, or else it was after they were picked, and I didn't know who'd won. But Kyle did win the power veto. And those of you that don't recall, although it was shown on last night's television show, Terrence and Terrence and Indy are currently nominated. So the pressure started to be exerted yesterday for Kyle to consider using the power veto, and the plan was going to be, or is going to be tentatively, to put up Alyssa. Taylor would save Indy, or possibly Terrence, but probably Indy, and then put up Alyssa in her place. Now, Kyle, let's cut. You know what? I'm not going to do the whole long drawn out back and forth on it. The end result is Kyle's pretty much saying, I am not going to use the power veto. He just says I can't do it. Now, he's been getting positive feedback from most of his house, most of his alliance mates have all been like, well, like Joseph, and I watched him in the room last night when this all kind of came to a bit of a head, where Taylor would be talking to people, mostly Monty and Joseph, but also Michael and Brittany were also kind of like, yeah, we think you should use it. And Taylor's very much had people in her ear saying, oh yeah, well, look, Alyssa, so it turns out that Alyssa took the London trip from Taylor, and then Jasmine took the London trip from Alyssa. But the whole gist of this is that Alyssa took the London trip from Taylor. That she just should have never done that. She never should have felt so confident that she didn't need to win the power veto that she took a prize instead of the power veto. Traffic. So that kept sticking in Taylor's, just bother Taylor that she should do this, and she just wants to be petty. I mean, Taylor's saying that. She said, I just need to be petty. But remember, Taylor had told them, the women, you're safe. You're not my target. You're safe. You're not my target. So she set them up to not grab the power veto. And look what happened. So, yeah, it was. It just got to the point of I just was annoyed with the self-righteousness. But this is just how it is. I mean, there's a self-righteousness of everybody. Everybody does this every game, every season. They get angry, and they have to find reasons to do things that they may not necessarily want to do, or that that they're going to feel bad about. So you've got to get angry. The other thing is that I don't know if it was Turner, or if it was Monty, or if it was Joseph. I cannot remember for sure, and I just was too lazy to go back and rewind to see. But one of them had mentioned to Taylor, and they showed it on last night's episode, how Alyssa had just said, okay, that's enough, when Taylor had won the head of household competition. Now, the way I had heard it interpreted in the meeting, while I was watching the meeting, was Taylor was saying, why couldn't she let me have my moment? Why was she just so upset immediately? Like, she was so over me winning head of household. I was excited and happy that I got to get a letter from my mom, and da-da-da-da-da. And, that just seemed unfair, or how dare she. And after they showed it on last night's show, because I didn't remember watching it on the actual live feeds when it happened. And I've said this. It was like, okay, she's jealous of Kyle hugging Taylor. That's what she's annoyed with. She's like, I don't want him hugging my man, kind of a thing. Like, okay, that's enough. Like, that was enough hugging. Others said that she's expressed how mad she was that was happening, but again, in the end, it wasn't. It was not her being complete. I mean, sure, part of it was her being pissed off that the Taylor had won, but still, in the end, it wasn't her disrespecting Taylor's win. I don't know. It just seemed like, again, it's Taylor finding justification for why she should put up Alyssa. So Taylor and Kyle finally met one-on-one. Taylor presented her case for why she thought Alyssa should go up. Kyle defended his case, saying, Jasmine did just as wrong, and you don't want to put up Jasmine. I don't want to put up Taylor. Or not Taylor. I don't want to have Alyssa put up. Terrence can go. Why do we have to change anything? Just let Terrence go. She said, you guys can blame me. You can make me the bad guy for not using it. I don't care. I will take the hit, which then becomes hard for Taylor to argue. It's like, well, he's willing to take the blame, because if we just care that we get rid of someone and we don't care who it is, and this will be one more bad mark against Kyle. And then Kyle's saying he's perfectly willing to nominate Alyssa next week if he wins head of household. Let's not mind that we know that some major problems are coming, some major issues are coming up next week. I haven't even talked about those on here, I guess. I guess I was talking about all those on Twitch. So let me jump ahead to that in just a second. Let's just get to the point of at the end of the conversations last night, as of late last night, Kyle is not using the power of veto today. So nominations will stay the same. Indy will end up being nominated along with Terrence still. And Indy has said if she gets voted out, she goes home. Okay, and then so that's where things are going to end up. Should end up by the end of the day today. By the way, punishments for the power of veto. I don't know if I even talked about those. So Taylor is supposed to be tethered to someone. We assume Joseph for 48 hours. It hasn't happened yet, so we're not sure what's going on with that. I'm wondering if they're going to end up getting tethered late today or tonight, and that means they'll still be tethered together when it comes time to the TV show on Thursday. And maybe that's why they're doing it, so they'll still be tethered together during the TV show. I'm not sure. It's a 2-hour show. They got to fill it with silly stuff, so that would be something to have it filled with. Also, Terrence has to get 182 tattoos. Someone pointed out that means Ink 182. There's a whole quote punk, not really punk, but they're calling it punk theme. Also, the tethering of Joseph and Taylor is going to have a iconic punk duo theme to it, like a Sid and Nancy, and that's just not. It's not going to be. This is all very, I called it Broadway version of punk. It's not really punk. It is glam. Just pretend. So Alyssa won $5,000. Indy got a trip to London, and then finally, the worst prize was Indy having to dress up in a punk themed unitard, and she has to do a drum thing every so often with other people joining in. That's all being blocked from the feed, so we haven't actually seen it happen yet. It's just what they do now. They don't think we can, if we see it ahead of time, we won't watch the TV show or something. So that's going on. Okay, now we're all caught up as far as most of the stuff, I think. The last thing to talk about, and pardon me, again, I don't think I have talked about this, was one of the folks on Twitch was watching on Twitch, I think Saturday. Username was Up All Night, and they were new to the Twitch stream, but they asked me a question about what's going to happen on Thursday. What do I think is going to happen on Thursday? I'm like, I haven't even kind of thought about it, but let's run a couple scenarios and figure out what's going to happen as far as the number of how the house could get split up. And then I quickly realized that there aren't that many permutations. If you take out the names and only consider two alliances of the non-leftovers and the leftovers, you really only have two ways that it's going to go. Either you're going to end up with 5 leftovers in one house, one of the two houses. So the house guests are going to be split up into two houses of 5 people each. So you're either going to end up with one house with 5 leftovers and the other house with 3 non-leftovers and 2 leftovers. That's how it's going to end up that way. Or you're going to end up with a house with 4 leftovers, 1 non-leftover, and then 3 leftovers and 2 non-leftovers. That's the only 2 possible combinations. Now, name-wise, you could be all over the place. You could have a lot of different combinations of people, but in reality, that's how the alliances are going to end up getting split up, which means that it is possible that you'll have, if you have that 5 leftovers and then 3 non-leftovers in the other, you'll have a majority of leftovers that have to vote one of their own out, and then you'll have the other house where 3 out of the 5 are in the non-leftover. Now, it doesn't mean they can't be manipulated, but the point is, when you only have 5, it doesn't take much to screw up any kind of plans, because your head of household can only nominate 2 people. Then you've got only 2 people as possible renoms, and a power veto could be won by one of those renoms. If they use it, a non is going to have to get it could just really mess with the whole process. And so it's going to be quite a bit of chaos, I think, and I really do think that come Thursday, especially with the amount of strain that's been going on among the leftovers right now on trying to hold their act together and not turn to their own personal agendas, which is what Taylor and Kyle have both been trying to do in this particular one, on picking who goes out when they're trying to pick from the 4 that are left. And everyone's like, well, they're closer to that one, they're closer to that one. It could come the time, and they certainly have all talked about picking each other off, where they kind of go like, this is it, where the leftovers are done. We've got to make the decision. In one case, if it's 5-0, it'll be forced on them. They won't have a choice. They'll have to vote one of their own out. But again, it's very possible it could end up with 4 leftovers and 1 non-leftover, and then 3 leftovers and 2 non-leftovers. So it's possible that you could end up with a scenario where the leftovers have a majority in each house. But the other option is they have to vote one of their own out because they got 5 in one. So that should be really interesting. And as I said to somebody, this is if CBS came up with this, if they thought this through as a reason to break up a big alliance, it's a pretty good tactic. If you have an alliance that is steamrolling through the house and you want to break them up, cut them in half, and it gives a lot more power to the non-aligned people. So imagine if it was, 8 people in an alliance and 2 non in an alliance, and you split it to 5 and 5. There is no way that you can't end up with 5. You have to have 5 in one house. There's just no way. So that's how close it would have been. Yeah. So should be interesting come Thursday. We still got a couple days before that. We can talk about it more. But I did want to at least mention it since I was all fired up after realizing it this weekend. Let me think. Is there anything else to talk about right now? I think that was plenty. There was a lot of stuff going on yesterday. A lot of stuff. Michael and Brittany kind of got caught in that double talk where it's just hard telling, but if Taylor and Kyle weren't paying attention, they should have realized, well, wait a minute, they were telling me different things than they were telling you. Although Taylor didn't really, if Taylor would be the one that would need to really pay attention to the fact that she knows that Michael and Brittany looked at her and said, I really think that Alyssa should go. And then Kyle says, that's not what they said to me. But I was watching the meeting with the leftovers without, I think Joseph was the only one not in there at the time. No, Joseph wasn't there. I guess, it was when Brittany and Kyle weren't in there. Or Brittany and Michael were not in there. Kyle was there, obviously. So it was the Pound plus Taylor in the head of household room talking. And Kyle's like, "Oh, you guys have a problem with this? I don't really want to use it." And Joseph's like, "You got to do what's best for your game." And Taylor's like, "Yeah, I know. I can understand how you wouldn't want to, and I'm okay." And so he didn't get a strong pushback. Now, I guess there was another meeting of all 7 leftovers later on in the night after I went to bed that I haven't seen yet. But still, my understanding is the consensus was that Kyle didn't have to use the power veto. He actually talked about the non leftovers, or at least the girls, Alyssa, Indy, and Jasmine actually talked to Taylor. At first it was just Jasmine and Indy were up talking with Taylor, and Taylor was already laying the groundwork for, crap, he's not going to use it. Let me set them up for that, and saying, well, I don't know if Kyle's now. I'm not sure if Kyle's going to use it and everything, and I really have a huge target in mind. They're trying to imply, by the way, Taylor has always been trying to imply that she wants to put up Monty, but the whole plan was going to be that she was going to pretend that she was going to put up Monty, and then when Kyle used it, she was going to flip the tables and go, "You know what? I've changed my mind, and I'm going to put up Alyssa," and have a bunch of drama and everything. And Taylor has been quite sucked into the performance for TV thing, and she's willing to make big moves for big, huge, dramatic effects. And so that was kind of her plan. But Kyle's like, "Yeah, you know what? I've decided I don't want to do that." So now that Taylor knows it's probably not going to happen, she was setting up Indy and Jasmine for things not changing and acting like she's very upset that it may not happen like she wants to, and so the nominations may have to stay the same. To which, Indy's not crazy about. Indy has announced that she's if she gets sent to the jury, I don't know if it matters when, but she said if she gets sent to the jury on Thursday, she's just going to be done. So we'll see how that works out. It does come down to money and stuff, and she may be reminded that you're going to lose a chunk of change and have wasted a good part of your summer if you just up and decide not to stay in the jury house. And they'll probably talk her into it. But for now, she's said that a couple of times, be like, "I'm just done if I get voted out on Thursday." All right, now that I said I was wrapping it up and then went down another rabbit hole, but that's the gist of it. That's what's going on. We'll talk more later. We'll talk more tomorrow after the power veto ceremony. There'll be a lot to talk about if it is used. If it isn't used, I will probably be talking more about the same, but we'll see. I think that's it, guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Monday. Oh, Monday. And I will, again, I'll talk to you tomorrow. IDM on my Twitch stream. Probably will be doing it this afternoon. And I am finally, quote, an affiliate on Twitch, which I don't know if it means anything, to be honest, but I did all the online paperwork now. And we'll see if that brings any additional bells and whistles, or if it's more of an annoyance than anything, but I'll give it a try this afternoon, this afternoon probably. And that's it. We'll talk to you. Thank you, my patron supporters. I will be giving a shout out at some point this week to everybody, including my new patron. Maybe it'll be patrons by the time I do it, but for now I have one new patron since the last time I gave out everybody's names. So we'll talk to you then. Have a good one. See ya.